This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. We must increase vaccinations among the unvaccinated with new vaccination requirements.
It's going to work. We have other countries with much higher rates of vaccination, and they're seeing record surges of COVID because that's what viruses do.
Many of us are frustrated with the nearly 80 million Americans who are still not vaccinated.
Their freedom. I want my freedom to live.
Rest in peace, Wheezy.
We are going to need the people to engage in age-old American tradition of simply saying, no, I'm not going to comply. Now, what are you going to do about it? It never stops. They want things to get worse because they want you to suffer so that they can grandstand on your suffering and push for even more control.
They have criminalized freedom. They've made getting sick illegal.
This isn't about COVID any more than the Patriot Act was about Al-Qaeda. It's about government asserting more control over your lives, your rights, your properties, and in this case, your bodily autonomy.
It has a lot of vaccinated people alarmed because of the power grab that's involved.
Enough is enough. We better change our tune and start resisting.
Government makes up less than 1% of the population. If even 5 or 10% of Americans simply refuse to comply, all of this goes away.
Absolutely, this is the hill worth dying on.
We haven't given the statutory authority to any agency to do this kind of thing.
There is no such thing as government power. There's only what we are willing to comply to.
We're in the tough stretch, and it could last for a while.
That's what this has always been about. It's never about what they say it is. It's about controlling you, and it ends when we decide to end it.
This BS is going to stop.
It's time for us to
There's
wake
only
up.
one way to fight back against this, and it's mass non-compliance.
This is the most important thing to fight against.
You can help stop this. You are the power.
There's nothing, not a single thing we're unable to do if we do it together.
The following is a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
Remember a simpler time when it was okay to be weird, have fun, and think for yourself?
Well, those days are over. The art of conversation itself is dead. Sacrificed on the altar of divide and conquer and disguised as political correctness and spared feelings. I believe that unity can only come from truth, and that the only way to find truth is by exploring and embracing our valuable differences and having civil, open-minded, and uncomfortable discourse. Conspiracies, politics, religion, and all the taboo topics your family just praise you don't bring up around the Thanksgiving dinner table. We are here to literally change the world one uncomfortable conversation at a time. So if you're easily offended, put your big girl panties on and buckle up, Buttercup, because you chose to be here. I'm Dan Smots, you are the power, and this is The System Is Down.
That's right. We are back. I am so goddamn tired of talking about the Libertarian Party in every way, let alone corruption. But I'll stop when you guys stop, and we'll have an agreement there. So, balls in your court, guys. Today, we're going to do it again. We're going to go there. Even though, you know, people keep telling me to stop doing these things, I can't stop. I'm an addict in that way. But welcome to The System Is Down. I saw that it was somebody's first time. Mike and Andrew, acoustic duo, checking in for the first time ever. System Is Down. Intro is fire. So it's too early to read chats. Whatever. We'll get to those later. But thank you guys so much for being here. This is the least comfortable show on the web, the place where we talk about all the uncomfortable topics like conspiracies, politics, religion, all the things that make you go, ugh. I don't know how I feel about that, because that's how we advance as a species. Today's episode is brought to you by multiple things. First and foremost being you guys in the Downers Club, people like Lauren Carter, Representation Zero, Rothbardian. Go back, because there's some new peeps. Gotta give them all shouts. Rothbardian, Shannon Cargyle, Martinez, Level Zero, Lee Latorno, Trenton Campbell, Vanzot Media, Stephen Hartman, Pavlik Jane Serrato, Brian Johnson, Carolina B, Jack Casey, Rick DeVary, Kyle Evans, Ryan Morganson, Joe Kapitsky, Anthony Meyer, Matt Mitchell, something, Davis Johnson, We Are Libertarians, John Oder, Matt Aaron Stute, Nathan Sipes, Brian McWilliams, David White, Mary Rome Duslinsky, William Wells, and others. If you would like to get your name on that list and possibly have it read, if you'd like to support this show, you can go to patreon.com/The System Is Down, where we get more weird, more raw, more offensive, more weekly content. You'll get bonus episodes of the show every single week for as little as $5 that is the cost of a super chat that I'm not allowed to have, $5 per month for a whole bunch of shit. So go on over to the patreon.com/The System Is Down and join the Downers Club today. All right. We also are sponsored by shirts. You can get in the System Is Down merch store. You can get this Unity Camp, Summer of Love, Healing, Cleansing by Any Means Necessary. Biden and Harris's Unity Camp, coming soon to a camp near you. You can get that one. You can also get things like I Love New York. You know what it is. If you don't, go get it. And Dare to Resist Drugs and Violence with, of course, syringes that have who knows what 19 is in them. They also have grenades and bombs and all the things that government loves, police brutality, all the drugs and violence that we were told not to get involved in as a child that are now being pushed down our throats. And the latest, I opposed climate crisis mandates before it was hot. We are also, you can get those at thesystemisdown.tv. I should probably tell you about that. But we are also sponsored by theroyalgreen.com. Jack Casey's a cool guy who wrote a book, and it's called The Royal Green. He wrote 3 books, in fact, that are about things like conspiracies, politics, religion, future, sci-fi. It's like Twilight meets The Matrix, I hear. I don't know. I don't read. But get it at theroyalgreen.com. You can get that one. You can also get In Silver Throned, which is behind me and you can't see right now. Or you can get the latest, Crowned by Gold, Book 3. royalgreen.com. Also, free ounce of kratom. Go to free ounce of kratom if you would like just that, a free ounce of kratom. Enter the promo code TSID, and you'll get not only your free ounce of kratom, but you'll get 5% off all of their products, things like colloidal silver, CBD, natural vitamins, minerals, and of course, Delta 8 THC delivered straight to your door. That is Delta 8 THC. You heard right. Drugs to your door at freeounceofkratom.com, promo code TSID. Now, last week and the week before, and it seems like every week this month, I've been doing, these having trolls on that keep getting kicked out of their local libertarian parties and whatnots and things like that. I heard that there was a new one coming out, so why not keep this ball rolling? Oh, and I should bring this back up. Comment on the Tower Gang podcast episode. This is, I think, 3 or 4 troll episodes ago. Your channel is now shadow banned. This morning I was able to find it with just the name. Now not possible anymore. Keep up producing awesome commercials and other more professional content. I hope you don't get dragged down with the shit posters. That said, let me go on in here and welcome my guests today, which are many. We've got first, of course, Dave Casey, a good friend of the show. He does something for the Delaware Party, or he used to, or maybe he still does. I don't know. And also we've got former or possibly current chair of the Libertarian Party of Delaware, Bill Hinds, and former or current vice chair of the Libertarian Party of Delaware, Amy Lepore. How is everyone doing today?
What's up,
Wonderful.
Dave?
Good.
Doing great.
Good. Glad to have you. Glad you're here. Glad you can be added to my list of people that get screwed over by libertarian parties lately. But I don't know that much about this. All I know is this letter that Dave sent me, which I have here somewhere, and we can bring it up as we talk about it. But this letter basically saying you guys are no longer welcome. You're removed. Who wants to break down this story? Because I don't know all that much about it, but I wanted to have you guys on. And I should start, again, by saying if you're on the other side of this, I'm open to your side of this story as well. You are welcome to come on and share your story. I doubt you will. I doubt you'll hear this. Well, you'll probably listen and make notes and be angry about this, but you are welcome. Anger and all. It's fine. But Bill, do you want to kind of break down what happened here?
Sure. So the breakdown of the Libertarian Party of Delaware state board is 10 people, 4 people in the executive committee, and then 6 representatives from our whopping 3 counties we have in Delaware.
Okay.
So that makes it 10. You get a county chair and a county rep for 6, and then the executive board. We've found ourselves basically in a deadlock state over some issues for the past 3 or 4 months since we came together. By the way, our convention was June of this year, early June. We were all elected, took our seats. And immediately we wanted to create a social media policy, start giving people work to do with social media. And we were roadblocked by a gentleman who claimed to be the owner of our social media assets. So that gentleman had half the board supporting him. The other half of the board, we were trying to wrestle that away from him. It was going nowhere. And that's really the deadlock at the state board level that we experienced. And
so did you say, sorry to go back a little bit, did you say that the party has only been around for, like the Delaware party is brand new?
No, this board.
Okay, gotcha.
This state board. The Delaware State Party has been around since the 1970s, I think.
Right.
So in late 70s, it was established. Gotcha. But anyway, so we had this deadlock situation where we could not agree on anything, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because if neither side can agree that an idea is good, then it's not a good idea. It's real simple, right?
Right.
And if there's no good ideas, then there's nothing to do. So I don't see, personally, even in government, I don't see a problem with a deadlock stopping government from passing laws, etc. Anyway, we were in this deadlock state, and half the board came up with what we believe is a plan to create a bylaw that would give just 2 members of the state board the power to remove people from the state board. Now, the bar previously was 4/5 of the state board has to vote for any disciplinary action against an officer of the state board. Mm-hmm. And that's a high bar on purpose, because these are all elected people by the body of the state membership.
Yeah.
And they put this bylaw on Facebook. They went through a process of hiding the notification of the bylaw change, and then they weaponized it and executed it on October 1st of this year.
What do you mean by hiding? Like they posted it and they made it so you couldn't see it?
So let me explain this. The way our bylaw notification works for the state board, you can post a proposed bylaw change to the Facebook group for the Libertarian Party of Delaware. And that gives notice to the body of membership that, hey, we have this bylaw change we want to do. Anybody can comment on it. Anybody can, bring it up for debate, etc. But this particular post was immediately turned off commenting so that nobody could comment on it. And then the administrator of the group immediately had a little meme fest to bury the post in the group feed so that it would be way under all of these other posts, so that no rational person is going to scroll through, hundreds of memes and posts.
Right. We posted it. Something. Good luck finding it, but it's there. We went through the proper channels. We did what we were supposed to.
Exactly. That's their claim, that they did what they were supposed to, even though they maliciously hid it. We also, I'm going to give up a little evidence. We have evidence that the administrator of the group, who claims to be the owner of the group, actually went in and administratively turned off comments on that post before they started their meme fest to bury it. And we have that proof that we're going to share with the LNC. And then
and turning off the comments section, I mean, that's a strategy that, big tech corporations usually do to keep people from speaking against it or weighing in. Much, not only that, but in this giant forum, it would keep boosting it back up to the top if people kept commenting on it with their anger.
Exactly. So, yeah. That's why they turned off commenting, because they did not want it to come up over all of that meme and basically shit posting they did to. They didn't want it to come up. Yeah. They didn't want anyone to be aware that this was out there. And then once it was out there for the 30-day period, on October 1st, they convened a meeting of the state board. Now, we have this rule that a lot of us don't really like, and that is if a member makes a motion of the state board, makes a motion, and a second member seconds that motion, it becomes automatically a quorum call for the whole state board to get online and attend to the motion, to move the motion as needed. So a quorum call at 8:01 was made on October 1st. At 8:02, they determined that the chair, the vice chair, the Newcastle County chair were not present, and they were going to pass chairmanship on to the county chairman for this meeting, which they did. Then they had a vote on the bylaw, and immediately following the vote of the acceptance of this bylaw, which changed the process for removing people from the board from 4/5 to 2 people, they removed myself, Amy, and Dave from the board.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
you guys are 3 of the 5? Is that how that works? Sorry.
3 of the 10.
Okay. But all they needed was 2 people to raise this issue to sneakily take a vote on it, or what?
Yeah. So, well, he had his supporters. Like I said, our board is split 5-5, basically. 4 days before this happened, the secretary, who was kind of holding the line at the 5-5 mark, resigned because he couldn't handle the stress of being between these 2 groups anymore.
Right.
So he resigned. So now they automatically had a 5-4 advantage, and that's when they decided to execute this little plan of theirs.
Gotcha. And the plan is to just remove you guys, you 3. And Dave and Amy, weigh in whenever you want. This isn't like formal or anything. We're just chatting. But so you, from what I've seen and what I've gathered in my very briefest of sleuthing online in this topic, is you guys have 2 things in common that they don't seem to like, and it's a certain affiliation and the fact that you guys are on social media saying mean things, and that's, can't have that in the LP. Dave, do you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, man. The mean words thing, the mud decorum, hashtag Karen Ann Harlos. Yeah, as soon as that was a big red flag, as soon as that happened, I'll be honest. And I told some of my people that, like, look, if there's a precedent set by going after mean words, there are people in our party who are going to use that. Certainly against me. I can't think of any time that Amy or Bill, have been anything other than,
they seem pretty
professional.
Nasty.
Exactly right. But you can
try.
say that
that fern behind him really gives a menacing, vibe.
Right. But no, I was not shocked when this happened. But the AOA that they put out after this, which is really, it's probably the worst thing that I've seen ever come out of an affiliate. And this is, Amy could probably talk more about this, but this is the fraudulent, in my opinion, Libertarian Party of Delaware right now is trying to push forth publicly an AOA that would, correct me if I'm getting anything wrong here, but they want basically full autonomy of all the counties of the state. So they want to be able to come in and change officers if they have to. They want to be able to come in and, mess with social media and even, like remove people and even disaffiliate the entire county, which is probably what they're going to do based on a certain caucus affiliation. So this is, it's unlibertarian. I know people throw that around a lot, but it's diametrically opposed to everything that you're supposed to be about. These are the worst people, dude.
Yeah.
So we even have a county chair in Sussex County who has at least twice threatened that Mises Caucus members should not go down to his county, right? Lest they have a stern talking to or something, right? So he has said that he intends to codify with his membership that no caucus member, no Mises Caucus member specifically, can be a member of Sussex County. So there are threats abound in Delaware, not just in this county, but the AOA amendment proposal that Dave references centralizes all of the authority at the state level and permits no autonomy at the local affiliate level, and really should scare any of these 3 counties, regardless of their stance on how mean Mises Caucus members are.
Yeah. Now, you said that the name that shall not be named, Mises Caucus. So we can talk about it now. It's just getting laughable. It's getting to a laughable extent. I know it's less laughable for people that are, they're trying to remove from their positions. But for me, an outsider who just discovered the Mises Caucus not that long ago, heard all the terrible things and was skeptical going in, but now realized that it's all complete and utter bullshit. It's just funny to watch this happen, even though it's happening to my friends. It's funny to watch their desperation. Let me say that. It couldn't be more clear of what the real threat is. And they spent how many months now saying, oh, these people are Nazis, and they're trying to purge other libertarians from the party. They're trying to kick us out. You need to be afraid of them. And what do they do to stop it? They try and kick out libertarians from the party.
So, yeah, and I got to say, I only recently became a Mises Caucus member. So I was previously the vice chair in Newcastle County, which is our most populous county in Delaware. And so I built relationships with these people. And then the way they're treating me now, it's unbelievable because I haven't changed anything about the way I conduct myself. And they have completely changed the way they treat me. It's horrible.
And Dave hasn't changed the way he conducts himself either. He's always been an asshole. This is not news.
That's right. You knew what you were getting. That's right. The delegates knew when they put me in that position that you were getting an asshole. Everybody needs one. You know?
That's right. Got to even things out. Checks and balances. But yeah, it's reading through it. Like, Dave, how long have you... So you were all elected at the same time just last year, right?
Yep. This
4 months ago.
Past June. Yeah.
Okay. Dave, how long... Dave and Amy, how long have you guys been involved in the party at all?
Go ahead, Amy.
Yeah, so I believe I began attending county meetings in the months prior to the Jorgensen campaign. Was immediately asked to run that campaign for the state. So year and a half, roughly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Dave?
So, I joined the Mises Caucus 4 years ago when Mike Heiss opened that group up, but was reluctant to join the Libertarian Party for a lot of reasons. But was trying to get active in the Jorgensen campaign, and I saw that the Libertarian Party of Delaware did not have a place to host her because of COVID restrictions and things. So I offered up my place of business, which they hopped on, and that was great because I was excited about, getting my business involved with my activism. I was pumped up. And I met Amy there for the first time, and her husband and some other great libertarians. I remember thinking that when I met Amy, like, her professionalism I was like, oh man, this party really has its shit together. This is exciting. And, come to find out, like, this was not the party. And in fact,
right,
had already, like, that early just been dismissive of her and and any kind of new blood dude coming in excited at all. But anyway, Amy had ideas, and she had Delaware for Liberty going on, and we expanded from that, and we kind of had a team that we could go in and we could make stuff happen. So we had enough people, and we formed the Delaware Mises Caucus then. And, Mike Heiss had been getting on me for years to kind of get my shit together and get the things in order that I was not capable of doing, and she is the one who really is the MVP, if I'm being honest, in my opinion.
So, Amy, how long have you been a Nazi? I'm kidding. We
just
joke.
A few short months. I don't.
It's
However
sad
long
that I have to
been saying it about us.
It's sad that I do feel like I have to specify that I am joking, because you guys get these accusations literally on a regular basis for that affiliation, and that's how desperate these people are. And they will, like I said, they will kick you out to prove that you are kicking people out. Yeah, it's crazy.
They use that language. White nationalist, anti-Semite, literal Nazi, dude. As soon as just a couple weeks ago, sharing articles in the group, comparing Dave Smith and the Mises Caucus to literal Nazis, dude. And you can report it. Nope, they let it up. They want it to stay. They want that to stay.
Yeah.
But won't allow other content. It's just it's been awful.
That's a really good point, Dave, and a thing that we should tackle. So you heard Bill, when he gave the overview, talk a little bit about the lack of control that we have over social media resources, right? So it's not just lack of control, it's lack of access. Mm-hmm. And so things you hear when you hear Dave say that that everything stays if it is negative toward one of the members that they don't like. Everything stays in the group. It does not matter how defamatory. Dan, the last couple of weeks, it has gotten so incredibly personal. They have been after people's businesses, after their certifications, after their loved ones, in a way that I guess I did not expect, and that I think we had hoped to not see. But that group, that Facebook group for Libertarian Party of Delaware, is this particular person who now claims the chair role, also claims to privately own those social media resources of the Libertarian Party of Delaware.
Sounds familiar. Sounds a lot like New
Yeah.
Hampshire.
Yeah, but claims that in fact he licenses them to the LPD in the absence of any evidence of a licensing agreement, and in the absence of any recognition of the absurdity that it is to claim private ownership over something like the party's Facebook page, for example. And so when you hear Dave talk about censorship in that group, if it was personal about one of, well, to be frank, one of the Mises Caucus members or someone they did not like, it got to stay. And if it, if it was not, if it was somebody else having an opinion about one of their members, although I would argue that not Bill, not myself, not even Dave, ever went at them in the far more personal way that they attacked our people, and to know that they claim private ownership over those resources kind of gives you the clue as to we did not have that same level of access. Bill was never given access to those social media resources, had zero administrative access to those accounts, and was also denied access to the financial accounts as well, which is probably a thing we should discuss.
Right, and another important point is, like, we didn't want direct access. All we wanted to do was set up a system like we had done in the county where the secretary really had controlled the credentials for all of these things. Mm-hmm. And the secretary was responsible for handing them out to whoever needed them to do their job,
right?
Which sounds like the way things should work. It shouldn't be one tyrannical person holding everything.
Yeah. Now, was there evidence leading up to like, if you had to guess what their main reason is, is there anything that you've done that they would, I mean, obviously they didn't really have any evidence in their letter or anything, but if they were trying to build a case against you, not to incriminate yourself or anything, what was their biggest issue with you? Was it just the affiliation, or was it something you posted specifically, somebody you called out, some disruption in a meeting, or what?
So, well, they would claim that I was acting unilaterally. And so let me tell you, prior to me becoming the chair, there was an ongoing, never-ending online session of the state board, the way it operated. So when I came in, I said, I don't want to have these, 2:00 in the morning things. I'd rather have a monthly meeting where we can conduct our business. And everybody seemed agreeable to that. We started doing it, and we started to realize that we were coming up with these 5-5 votes on all these key issues. So it was a deadlock. And I think that's what really drives them, is the fact that they want to create this environment, like Dave was saying, where they're in complete control of who has access to the party, who is a member of the party. And we were a roadblock to them creating that control. The other thing I wanted to say about
the problem
this,
with that, sorry to cut you off, we'll come back, but you guys are the chair and the vice chair. Shouldn't you have at least if you don't have a little bit more say, then what's the point of that position? Why? I don't understand how. Yeah. Whatever.
So the other thing I did that was unilateral was creating agendas for the meetings. So I had a meeting of the executive board, which is the treasurer, the secretary, Amy, and myself, to put these agendas for the meetings together, which didn't seem that unilateral to me. But that's my unilateral actions that they're condemning.
That's very libertarian of them. We need every single hourly meeting to be scheduled by show of hands and votes, maybe silent ballots that we mail in or whatever, and everybody has to come to an agreement. Like, who gives a shit? Do we all agree? Can we be humans, or do we have to go by Robert's rules for every conversation we have?
These guys thrive in Robert's rules, bro. They
that's
fucking
fine.
love it.
So that's how they pushed us to operate as a board, right? But then in their little coup d'etat on October 1st, all of that went out the window, and they executed their business in a span of 4 minutes. And that letter that they posted on Facebook was not even put up for a vote to the board. That letter was unilaterally written by one person, posted by one person. There was no board vote on that letter.
The irony, and I'm sure we're going to
Yeah.
get into more of it, but yes. You are in trouble for not giving us a vote, and I have decided by myself, as a single person, that we will kick you out. Okay, cool.
Yep. That's
Dave,
it.
Dave, did you have something to say?
I just wanted to talk about this guy who's doing this. And by the way, his name is Will McVay. That is his name, and you should know it because he's a public figure and a fucking douchebag. And he's been doing awful things to a lot of people for a long time. He's been in this party for 12 years, hasn't done dick.
Will,
okay?
if you want to come on and debate Dave,
you should probably do that. Yeah, I recommend it. He should come the fuck on here and debate me. He has started multiple political parties, including one that he started just last year. Give it a Google, called the Mandalorians of Delaware. Nerd alert. Okay?
I mean,
this guy
I've got Star Wars tats and everything, and even I cringe
I know,
at that.
He's more listen. If you can't tell that I'm a real nerd. I'm the comic book nerd. I'm the cool kind of nerd. These are nihilistic nerds, and you know the type. It's a different kind of nerd. They need to be right. This guy started a party. You should go look this. He's been interviewed by like major news outlets about this party, the Mandalorians, encouraging people while he's the Kent County chair to get involved and register as this because there's a super serious alt-right infiltration into the party that I love. This guy is shit. I'll let you guys get on with the actual official business, though.
We'll just go. We'll cut to Dave for the shit post moment of the hour or whatever. Just every 5 minutes or so.
That's my function here.
Get Dave's
I just want to let everybody know that there's a job for everybody in the party, and there's a purpose for shit posting, and we also need professionals like Amy and Bill.
Yes.
Fair people like Bill who can see new blood coming in and go, great, yeah, that sounds awesome. Thanks for the help. It just sounds reasonable.
It shouldn't be only a Mises Caucus stance to enjoy growth in the party, but what do I know?
Yeah. This is it. This is because these people are about the power struggle. These are people of bad character. We have most of the same opinions about politically and culture, maybe not culturally, but politically at least. We align, but maybe our priorities are different, but they are willing to steep to levels that we are not. We come in and we declare what we want. Hi, here's our goals. Here's what we want to do. And here's how we're going to do it. And they operate in the shadows. That's how they do it.
Yeah.
Sorry
I think going down the rabbit hole just a bit on the issue of building up a separate political party in the face of an opportunity to instead build the Libertarian Party is something of interest, and I think it's something that probably you'll hear a little bit more about in the coming days. But that party was seeking ballot access, and for as much of a joke as the name indicates that it is, certainly it appears that Mr. McVay placed his eggs in that basket. And again, seeking ballot access, attempting to recruit people on libertarian sites, and speaking with other libertarians about the want to leave the Libertarian Party, expressing his disdain for what the Libertarian Party is, and why, and using that as a reason why he would start a new political party, and then being public about his prioritization of his work there. So when someone like that takes over your political party, or attempts to, takes over your political party and takes the bank accounts with him, under the auspices of potentially growing another party, that is a concern. It's a concern for us, for Bill and I, and for Dave, and should also be a concern for the LNC.
Absolutely. So how much of this is illegal? I know there's sticky ground there, and just like with New Hampshire, I'm sure we'll have to go through a whole bunch of processes before we can all agree that flagrant corruption is... We have to all come together and vote on whether or not corruption is bad in the Libertarian Party, but is this illegal, or is this just some, libertarian infight squabbling, as usual?
So we're looking into the legal aspects of this to see, if there is any violations that we can prosecute here. But the real issue from a legal perspective within the party is that this whole letter that Dave shared with you is conjecture, lies, and has no evidence behind it at all. On top of that, they did this without even deliberating on it, without even having a forum for us to challenge the charges against us. Yeah. They just did this, in dead of night, sweep it out the door.
Libertarian cancel culture. We can just start a new hashtag, and they don't even need to trend with it. All they have to do is pull a few few tricks and shady backhanded deals, and then you're gone. I mean, this should speak volumes to people coming into the party. Like, do you hear about this going on in Democratic or Republican parties? I mean, is there a bunch of Republicans that are terrified of the alt-right taking over their party, and they're gonna, I mean, obviously they're all evil Nazis anyway. We know that, but I don't maybe it's because I don't focus that much on it, obviously, but the amount of not just squabbling but corruption that goes on in this party is impressive. Do any of you know, is this unprecedented for a political party to have this much problems with something as small as the Libertarian Party of Delaware?
The problem with the Libertarian Party is that there's a lot of people that just want to do purity testing. Right. And if you don't pass their personal purity test, then you're not up to snuff and don't belong here. That's really the problem with this party as a whole. Instead of us taking advantage of where we come together to make real change, we'd rather just, kill each other. Crazy.
Yeah. And I think that the culture war has really even seeped into the Libertarian Party, to be perfectly honest with you. Dude, come on. Well, when I came in, man, in 2012, it was awesome. It didn't really matter where your cultural preferences were. It was just like we were aligned politically with ending the fucking wars, ending the Fed, ending the war on drugs. That was enough. Easy as cream cheese, right? And there was all kinds of people in the movement just getting along because that's what it was about. And now it's like, well, and I don't know. Yeah, the cultural preferences really get in the way sometimes, man. And this guy particularly, like, we live in a blue state, so he has said to me this much, that like we need to appeal to the left. So it's like, I don't know, man. We need to appeal to libertarianism. That's what we need to appeal to, not kowtowing to that. So.
And Dave, I heard rumor that part of the reason why you got axed was you were attacking somebody online or in public debate.
No, I attacked Bill.
Oh,
it was no big deal. Yeah, because we're bros and we had an argument. I got upset at a meeting.
So you're saying that you were two individuals who disagreed on something and you argued about it a little bit, and neither of you called for the cancellation or the banning or the deplatforming or anything of the other person.
No.
Not at all.
That is impressive. You guys are, wow. So, Bill, how did you feel about being viciously attacked by Dave? And do you think that he should be like, just the fact that they use that is so laughable? Like they're grasping at anything that they can possibly come up with. Oh, so, you guys are on social media, and you also sometimes argue with each other, so you have to go.
Yeah, it was nothing. He didn't like a vote I abstained on was really all it was. And I gave him my reasoning for abstaining. He calmed down a couple days later. We got together, had some beers, and everything was fine.
It didn't take me days. I promise. Yeah. I didn't go to bed angry.
Well, no, but I mean, we were, after the meeting, we got together at an event a couple days later, and
this is how it's supposed to work.
It's in our rearview mirror.
And honestly, if there's any members of the Newcastle County Party watching now, I apologize for, going up, a little bit. But the point was, this was like the first vote we got to have on anything in 3 months because this stuff moves so slow. And all kinds of people abstained. I'm like, man, you guys sure do a lot of work to just abstain. I don't know. It's just like, this is new to me. Okay. I'm not, again, I would love to have I'm not a political professional, and it would be better if they were all Amy Lepores. That's what we need, not to be pushing, doctors out of our third party. This is silly, people. Like, bring them in. Do not push them out. You want, but I'm a placeholder. I'm here so that the Will McVays of the world cannot destroy this party. Yeah. I'm an intermediary node so that we can build this into something that it attracts good people.
I'm just curious, and we don't have to spend time on this, but I'm just curious what the argument was over that they're trying to cite as disruption or whatever. Do you remember?
It was a bylaw change, right?
Yep.
something stupid, something petty.
Yeah, dude, it was so benign, you know? And literally the first thing that we tried to do in 4 months, and it took months to prepare. This is how it works. It's like 1 month you say, hey, I have an idea for this thing. And somebody goes, great, we'll talk about that next month. And then the next month we talk about it and go, great, we'll have a vote on that next month. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, no wonder. It's like molasses, man.
Yeah.
But, you know.
A way to think about why those situations can become heightened and why that feels kind of stressful is this environment we've described to you of horrific tension on the state board, right? Kind of two separate concepts of how to move forward. But one group really willing to kind of make it personal and be on the attack and to make things uncomfortable for not just caucus members, but general members who are incredible, valuable members who have been there for so long. So we're operating in an environment that is kind of heightened and full of tension already. And so sometimes it is, I think, kind of normal for those things to escalate. That just like is a little bit of a human thing as we work through new roles and as we want to bring candidates forward and kind of push legislation and influence policymakers. We want to do all of these things.
And it should be heated sometimes. You should be able to have these disagreements. That's one of the beautiful things about the Libertarian Party is that more people do have a voice, and then you get some disagreements and you fight it out like people are supposed to do instead of kicking people out. But sorry, continue.
Right.
No, that's an excellent point, and I think a place we hope we get to, right, where there is amicable disagreement that does not become personal and does not prevent work.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you Amy, you brought up the attacks on like family and stuff like that. Or just your businesses and that type of thing. Can you guys dig into some of the specifics on that, or like what you've seen, what they've done, that type of thing?
Yeah, I will not dig too far into it.
Sure.
I will just say, that people who chose to interact in that Facebook group and who found themselves in debate with this kind of other side, if you will, which is really these members who we have discussed, and they have a small handful of allies.
Mm-hmm.
I think both sides. Over the months, even prior to the convention, we had some heated debate. Dave and Carter Hill, and Bill and myself, all of these folks, names that folks might know, were very early on wanting to push the party to do more. We want to use the social media outlets as advertising for the party, but also to push our platform and our message. We want activism. We want to support candidates, and really we did not see activity.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
true.
And so that's kind of where this all started. And there was a time when we could have amicable disagreement that did not become personal. But those attacks that you're talking about were more recent. And so I think we all had a sense that something had changed, something was about to happen, because people who attack like that have to feel emboldened to do so.
Right. They start getting a little more cocky in their speech when they know something's coming down the pike.
We could really see it happen in real time, and had discussions accordingly. But yeah, I mean, quite literally, attacking, and I don't want to get too specific here because
Sure.
I'm not sure where this is going, but attacking members' businesses, attacking members' qualifications in their pretty prestigious roles. So pretty deplorable behavior.
Awesome.
Tapping members' spouses too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
How very libertarian and non-aggressive. Dave, you got any thoughts on this?
Yeah, man, I'm fascinated by the microcosm of this. Like, this is not happening just in Delaware, right? Can happen like top down. We've seen that. Seen it in other affiliates, and I'm fascinated by it. And yeah, man, the people that are doing this, like, if there's anybody out there watching, this is not like, I've heard the term infighting. And I feel like that's really, infighting means like we're debating about like maybe strategy, about where to take the part. Now, that's all well and good and healthy. Infighting, right? That's how to get to the tip of the spear, right?
Yeah.
This is not that. Like, these guys literally went straight to the worst things because we were making legitimate claims about social media and stuff. So yeah, alt-right, Nazi, all this awful stuff, dude. And you know what? It should be noted too that the board is like half of them are family and related, living like in the same house, right? There's a Will and his girlfriend.
Do they go home and argue about bylaws all night?
Dude, well, yeah, I think that they used to. I mean, his family has a legacy here in the state of Delaware, the McVay family legacy. And his dad is by far the coolest one, I got to tell you, because mom holds the purse strings. She's the treasurer of the whole state.
Really?
So they've got this dynasty going on.
So they just had one little shit kid who's just trying to screw everything up, or what? Did he not get enough attention from Libertarian Daddy in his childhood, or what's the deal?
I don't know, man.
No. I would just say his father. So not to overly personalize this, right, or make human what feels inhuman, but last night in a Newcastle County meeting, his father spoke against what these folks have done and spoke out and wanted to be on record as saying, I was not aware of this. It is inexcusable. It is not procedural or not accurate. It is an unacceptable move. And his son and wife are a part of these 5 people who kind of have absconded with the title and the bank account, right?
Right.
And so yeah, I'm sure that so there is a unique family element here, which I'm sure makes this kind of super uncomfortable. But yeah, that happened last night.
It must be
hard to get reality that way. I think that's, I don't know if it's conflict of interest, but
it must do something to hurt. I wonder how it impacts your ego. Like when you're fighting over the power of the smallest party of anything ever, and you're being corrupt in that, and even your own father comes out and he's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, what does that do to your ego? Good job. You accidentally, or I mean on purpose, you stumbled into power in a place that it doesn't really exist, and now you're screwing people over for the sake of that tiny bit of power, and even your family knows that you're a shitbag. And again, I say this as an outsider who doesn't know the guy, so I don't have any personal beef, but just based on what I've heard here. Again, come on, let's talk. You can debate Dave, or you can just share your side of the story. I don't care, but somebody else talk. I'm out.
Yeah, I would like to thank his father one more time. That really meant a lot to come in there and say that. He didn't have to do that. Yeah. And I think that libertarian principles mean enough to him, and just being a moral and decent human being means enough to him.
Yeah.
To come and separate himself from that, it's pretty bold, and I'm very grateful.
Yeah. So what do you guys say to... how do I put this? What do you guys say to the people out there? Because Bill, you're freshly to the Mises Caucus. How recently did you say you joined? June. Okay, so pretty much brand new. What brought you in, and what do you say to people like these outsiders, these people that are looking on these types of things? And I'm sure a lot of people are seeing this as justification for the anti-Mises stance. Like, oh, they were able to kick out some evil Mises people. The Mises people must just be that bad that they're not even allowed to stay in their party. So what do you say to that kind of people?
So what brought me in was the work ethic towards activism, to finding candidates, finding resources to support candidates. And of course, Ludwig von Mises himself, how can you not love that man?
Yeah.
Human action, right? So that's really what, and meeting. So, as Amy said, she was the coordinator for the Joe Jorgensen campaign. So I had a lot of interaction with Amy and the group that was supporting the campaign that was largely Mises. I didn't know it at the time. But yeah, they were all, spectacular human beings working very hard to make this a success.
Except
in
Dave.
Delaware.
except Dave, obviously.
Even Dave, like Dave said, he put up his Wheelies farm stand there and had the bus there and had her come out and make her visit to Delaware there. So Dave was a big contributor.
Amy, Dave, you got any thoughts on the Mises Caucus to onlookers?
Yes, so many. Stop fearing something that's
I
so
know
awesome.
you do. I
That's
know
the
you
best thing
do.
that
Come
happened to the Libertarian Party in years. It's you don't have to be a part of the Mises Caucus. Nobody ever said that. I don't care. Karen Ann never said that. She just joined the Mises Caucus because you forced her hand, but she was adamantly anti-caucus. But the point is, she always said, this is where the energy is right now. Dude, when I joined the Mises Caucus, I never heard that name in my life. All I knew is that my boy Michael Heiss was trying to bring in the Ron Paul revolution into the Libertarian Party. Sold.
Yeah.
Sold. I'm in, because I know what that means. And the Fed, and the wars, and the war on terror. Dude, it's simple. We can do this. It doesn't have to be divisive. There doesn't have to be infighting. You played a video at the beginning of this, Dan, that had so many great people in it. Spike Cohen, Thomas Massey. I think he had Rand Paul and Ron Paul in there. This guy, Will McVay, dude, before all this went down, one of the last memes I saw in this group before I abandoned it totally was him making fun of, my cult of personality, my hero worship. And it had like all those people in a wheelbarrow, all the greatest Tom Woods, Ron Paul, Rand Paul, Thomas Massey, Spike Cohen.
Anybody you've ever heard of in the liberty movement.
All the people you should be championing because they're awesome.
Yeah.
And they paint libertarianism in a great light. These are our pillars, man. Champion them. Don't shit on them. This is like such a small fraction of the party. This is like, they're the fakertarians, man. The snakertarians. That's who they are. Who watches the Watchmen? These people need to be watched. And that's the problem. Nobody was watching the party for years.
Right.
It was just like, they'll give us this candidate. Oh, cool. See you in 4 years. No more, man. That's what it's about. If you want it to change, if you want this to turn into something great, you got to do it. # take human action.
Right. And I think that it should ring like loud and clear as to the effectiveness of the Mises Caucus, the amount of panic that is going on in just the last 6 months. Again, the measures taken against the Mises Caucus in a way that has never been taken against anybody, I would imagine, any group within the Libertarian Party in the past. But how do you know when you're over the target? How do you know when you're doing the right thing? You seem to make a lot of enemies. I mean, you can still make enemies without being right, but in this case, it checks out. But Amy, what are your thoughts on the Mises Caucus?
So I had never heard of the Mises Caucus until I met Dave. I want to say that after the Jorgensen campaign, we had recruited so many volunteers, and for the most part, caucus membership now, I'd say still maybe half of caucus membership are those volunteers. I think we had some things in common. I think we wanted to see an active party. I think there was a piece of what we have together that were people seeking community. My husband and I were new to Delaware, so we loved the opportunity to meet like-minded people. So for me, it is less about being a member of the Mises Caucus and more about believing that it is the best possible vehicle for success for the Libertarian Party. Mm-hmm. It is where the momentum is. It is so in terms of a match for my kind of my own political beliefs. It certainly is a best match, but I will work with anyone. I don't particularly care to only work within the Mises Caucus. Certainly, no one could argue that I have, but it is undeniably the best possible vehicle. I think that the local first approach, so looking at local elections before we go screaming with our hair on fire about a presidential election, really working that local election, really looking at what opportunities exist in school boards and the municipal levels, and building issue coalitions. So moving away from kind of just focusing on elections, working with people with whom we may not have much in common, but focusing on things like making, decriminalization in terms of both marijuana and psilocybin, looking at working with the Second Amendment community, and then more recently, of course, with the medical freedom community. the party, I found, did not have the reputation that you would want for strong coalition building. And so it really took the Mises Caucus and the professionals in the Mises Caucus to start to bolster some of those partnerships. And you'd think that the party would look at that as a blessing, as a thing that individual members bring back to meetings, but it is not looked at in that way. It is looked at instead, I suppose, I can only guess now, that as a bit of a threat to something that used to be much more small, used to be much more manageable and more able to be controlled by a small few, as opposed to something that is now diffuse and growing and has energy and attention from outside of the capital L libertarian community, which is how you grow a political party.
Yeah. And it is funny that in that letter, part of what they said was like, you don't you're not a good, correct me if I'm wrong, but none of you are a good representation of the party and blah, blah, blah. And Amy and Bill, you were both, they claimed that you were both elected on false pretenses or something like that. Do you want to touch on that a bit? On like, what are these false pretenses exactly?
So I don't know. As I said, prior to that, I was the Newcastle County vice chair. What happened? So to be honest, this little backstory here, our previous state party chair, who Dave had on his show, resigned in April of this year. His vice became the state chair, and then I was nominated to be the vice chair at the state level back then. So for a short term, couple months, I was the vice chair of the state. But working with this group of people really invigorated me to want to be a part of the Mises Caucus. So I joined them, and that really... So I joined them for two reasons. One, because we align in our belief system, which is great. But the other reason is I knew that there was this distrust of the Mises from other people in the party. And I wanted to prove to them that by going over there and being one of them, I'm still me. I'm the same person I was.
Right.
But they took that instead as a traitorous act.
Yeah.
So I betrayed them by joining Mises. And instead of building a bridge, they saw me as burning a bridge.
Yeah, I've had similar experiences where people didn't know that I was doing work with the Mises Caucus, and after they found out, they were suddenly like, oh, I can't believe that you would do such a terrible thing and associate with such awful people. And I'm like, well, how have I changed? If you didn't know that I was working with them, like, what makes me evil now? Just this knowledge that I have spoken to people that you disagree with 2% politically. Who cares?
That's it.
But the whole thing just feels to me like it has nothing to do with policy. It has nothing to do with racism, and it has nothing to do with any of the accusations they're making. It has to do with them wanting to keep their tiny little bit of authority over somebody else, which is about the least libertarian position that you could possibly have as a elected official. I don't remember what we were talking about or what my question was, but somebody can talk if they would like to.
Well, I just want to say, yeah, in that letter, it did. Sorry, really quickly. In that letter that he wrote, it said something to the effect of like, Bill did not disclose his factional something or another, something to the effect of that.
So he didn't say
as if Bill has to go and tell
guy.
Somebody I'm a Mises. He doesn't owe them shit.
Right.
This is. Yeah, I'm just letting everybody know.
It's not like he's sneaking around starting his own party behind people's backs or anything.
Right. Come on. And then about Amy, it said that you promised you were a Mises Caucus coordinator and you would resign from that once this, as if she would have to do that. Like, these people have this quality that's like, you owe me an explanation, or
get it in writing next time.
Come on, it's ridiculous. Sorry.
So they're hard on Bill for not disclosing his affiliation, but mine had been disclosed since, I want to say, like, I don't know, Dave, when was our first community cleanup? Like February, right? Like cool. Late January, February. And you know, go back in my Facebook history, that stuff's all over there. So it's not secret about my affiliation with the caucus because I am instead proud of it. And in terms of my state coordinator role, there are 4 of us, but I continue to be a state coordinator, and that is public information. That's right there on the takehumanaction.com website. I never sought to hide it. There does seem to be a piece in there that insinuates I had promised I would step down from a state coordinator role. And I'll be frank, I mean, Bill and I had conversations. I had conversations with several people about whether or not workload would become an issue. And with a dysfunctional board, it turns out it doesn't. And whether or not
there is no work at that point.
Yeah.
And whether or not the membership, the body would appeal to me and say, you know, our preferences, you know, that you don't serve in this role. But I was overwhelmingly elected as vice chair of this party with no questions about my affiliations. And if it had threatened the way that members kind of interacted with me or saw my role, or it had threatened the important workload that should come with the vice chair role, I absolutely would have stepped down. So I did talk with several people about that. I had made no commitments to that effort, and I commit now as vice chair, if it ever stands in the way of my fulfilling my party duties in an appropriate way, I would step down.
Yeah.
Also, really quick, I just wanted to say that Sean Goward, who was the former chair, and it's crazy, this feels like this has taken forever, but he was the chair 6 months ago, okay? And he resigned. You should go look at his resignation letter, and he specifically cites the proprietary approach that members of the board were taking to the rest of the party. So in essence, what he's saying is these people are trying to determine who can come in and who can play and who should and who shouldn't, and what content is okay and what content is not. And that's not okay. And he felt like he couldn't do anything as the chair of the party. So he resigned. And that was 6 months ago. We've been in these positions for 4 months. And it's crazy, dude.
But there is one constant there, right? And that's Will trying to orchestrate everything from behind the scenes.
You guys give him a lot of credit. I think the constant is a permissive environment, right? So I think there's more than one person kind of at fault here.
A co-conspirator? Is that what you mean?
No. I think that over the years, Bill, you've been around a little while. You know this. Over the years, this permissive environment that has the feel of a social club, and the probably not the professionalism that is required to grow, right? Despite having some incredible people. I think the constant is that professionalism is not held to a standard, and the permissive environment, you know, one of the things that Bill and I thought was so important was to have a business continuity plan of record, right? So what is each member responsible for? What external contacts do they have? How, you know, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, like, what was I doing, right? They fought that tooth and nail. So there is not a want to run anything like a business. There's not a want to succeed or to grow. And so, you know, now I forget where I started, but like, you know, it is not just a person. It is a permissive environment and a really upsetting culture that has permitted us to end up where we are today.
Yeah. Agreed. And you know what? I mean, some of my, again, I've been bombastic the entire time. They said it in the letter that Dave Casey was an asshole long before he got here, and then he continued to be an asshole.
Right.
And that's fair. I had lots of criticisms. But, you know, they were just, man. I don't know. They could go a week without posting on the Facebook page, and I'd go, "Hey guys, who's running the show? Can we get a post?" You know what I mean? Just So of course I start off like that, and it's gonna, you know, maybe I could have been a little bit more gentle in the beginning, but
or they could have not taken it so personally. Well, here's the other side of that coin, right? They could have not taken it so personally and realized that it was constructive criticism, a little bombastic, but constructive criticism, right?
Yeah, in all of this, like, Dave, did anybody come to you and say, "Hey, could you maybe just dial it down? Just as a friend to friend, this isn't going to give you the results that you're seeking here," with that kind of attitude?
In years past, I have made memes for these people for their paper candidacies, which the Libertarian Party is notorious for, and that I think that they were quite content to keep running. Just as long as we get a name on the ballot, then it's good.
Yeah.
But I was new, so I was just like, hey, man, you're the Libertarian in Delaware? Cool. How can I help? Jimmy Brittingham, here's a meme for you, bro. John Marischek, you want to run for sheriff? You got my vote. I voted for that guy twice.
Mm-hmm.
He's an anti-Mises action nerd now. It's awful.
Of course.
So, yeah, it's. I mean, they should look, man. Again, you don't have to be part of the caucus, but it really is this little club, and we're talking, dude, in Delaware, we're talking 3 or 4 people in a county party at some points, probably, maybe less, maybe 2 in some of them in years past. So now you have this thing where a huge influx, huge. I don't know. Amy could probably give you the stats on that, but like, it's never been like this before. We just threw, and when I say we, I mean the Delaware Mises Caucus, threw the best Libertarian Party that Delaware's ever seen in June. Maj Touré, Angela McCardle, Mike Heiss, Spike Cohen. We crushed it, and they were angry about it. Dude, that's what we're dealing with. They just had their arms folded, and they hated it.
I actually didn't see that coming. I thought you were going to say, and they were awesome then, and then they got all pissy after that. Now they hate success all around, and in any way possible that isn't just their own.
They talk about growing the party too. Like while we're growing it, they're like, "Yeah, we need to get numbers." It's like, what are you talking about? Like, we're growing the party. It's just not the numbers you like.
Kicking out your chair and your vice chair and whatever Dave is probably isn't going to help grow. But
hey,
who
man,
am I to
I'm
judge?
chair too, man.
Dave's something, I'm pretty sure, or he was. Speaking of, I do want to talk about the path forward and like what you guys plan to do a little bit, or like, are you officially out and that type of thing. But before we go in that direction, I am curious because, again, I'm coming into this kind of blind. Is there anything else, any other stone that we've left unturned that we should touch on?
Probably not that we would want to touch on anything. Nothing else in detail, I would not think tonight.
Gotcha. Dave, how about you?
I mean, nothing official, but yeah, I did not come here to lose to these fucking nerds. Let me just say that. So
nice. So let's. Are you guys officially removed from your positions? Are you guys not officially removed? I still don't know what's happening here. Are you guys the new Delaware party of New Hampshire?
So we're not acknowledging the unlawful meeting and bylaw adoption that Will facilitated. So no, we don't believe that they are the LPD. We think we still are, and we think we have a body of evidence to support that we are.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's it. So Bill is the chair of this party. Under his leadership, we'll get through this blip on the radar. And I think in the next day or two, I believe that.
Will, come on the call right now if you want to. I don't care.
I think we'll be able to demonstrate, again, as Bill said, kind of a series of events here that demonstrates that items were hidden from board members. The action was outside of any reasonable procedural boundaries, and I feel confident that will work in our favor.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Well, Will McVay is in the chat apparently. Dude, sure, whatever. We can line it up. I'm not just going to drop you into these people's lives unexpectedly. I hear that you've been too involved in their lives already. But do you guys have anything else you'd like to say before we go? Anything you'd like to plug, promote, anything that you want to get information out on, or where can people find you? Dave, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, you should join up with your local affiliate of the Libertarian Party still, even though shit's messed up right now. Get involved, man, because that's the way that you can change stuff. We're not going anywhere. This is the Libertarian Party of Delaware. You're looking at it. I encourage you personally to join the Mises Caucus because that's where the energy's at. You should go to takehumanaction.com. It's a super easy process to get signed up. If you're in Delaware, help us out. If you're in Kent County, Delaware especially, sign up. Let's change the landscape here and topple a dynasty. That's what I would say.
Nice. Amy, how about you?
No, nothing else, Dan. This was awesome. Thank you for having us on. You're the first person we have talked to publicly. So we're grateful for the chance to share our story.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. And do you have anything you want to plug or promote? Or just...
Just Bill as chair.
Freedom and liberty and stuff.
That's right.
Freedom and liberty, the gold pill, not the blue pill or the red pill.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure. And if anybody wants to talk to Will McVay on the show, we will talk. We will talk about it and see what happens. But I will jump back over here to me and to my guests. Thank you guys for coming. And to the rest of you, I guess dig into this and reach out to them. Reach out to whoever you want. Get your own get your own thoughts on the thing. Don't just take one side. I will take Will's side of the story if it makes sense to do so. But whatever. I hope that this can be the last time that we talk about corruption in the LP. Oh, also, you guys, are you good to do a quick bonus after this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a bonus chat. I've got some things I want to talk about. One of them being the latest, very important LP newsletter. So, yeah, if you guys want to stick around, if you're not comfortable sticking around, that's fine too. But a bonus chat after I wrap this up. But hang in there. I'll be right back. But to all of you guys, if you would like to support the show, if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, if you want me to get on guests that aren't talking about LP stuff, let me know at dan@tsidpod.com. Will, you can reach me there. And you can call me, 309-716-3818. Leave a voicemail. You can send me hate mail, hard hate mail at P.O. Box 84, Aledo, Illinois, 61231, and all that stuff. But, yeah. We'll see what happens, and we'll keep you guys informed on this. Go follow on all the things. Follow me at TSIDpod on Twitter, and that's typically where I post updates on news and information and stuff like this, and just a bunch of rants and shit. But do that, and until next time, please continue to question everything, stay uncomfortable, and I'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe on your way out and help us change the world one uncomfortable conversation at a time. And if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/thesystemsdown for bonus episodes of the show every single week. Until next time, please continue to question everything, stay uncomfortable, and I'll talk to you then. Thanks.
This has been a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.